So good evening, friends. On behalf of My Retired Life Foundation, we extend all of you a very hearty welcome for this very important program on balanced diet and mindful eating. And to talk on this particular topic, we have a very strong expert in this particular area, Dr. Gauri Joshi. Dr. Gauri Joshi has been in the area of the wellness and the nutrition for the last 8 to 10 years. Uh, Incidentally, she also happens to be my earlier colleague at SIS College of Management Study as a faculty member. She was also a faculty member of the Narasimhan University at Juhu Vile Parle. And she's an extremely warm-hearted person, a good communicator, and a very well expert in this particular area. So Gauri, the floor is open to you. Please take it forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Sir, would you enable slide sharing in case I want to show some slides?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Thank you. Are my slides visible? I've just put some 15 slides. Great.
Visible.
Okay, great. So good evening, one and all. And Dr. Sengupta sir has already introduced me, so I will not waste time. And extremely important topic. Let's have a conversation. I have lots of things to share, and 1 hour is sufficient time to brush up on the key points. However, if you have questions, you can put it in the chat box. I will read out your question and I will answer it to the best of my knowledge and ability so that we don't have time wasters for unmuting and other technological glitches. So please feel free to use the chat box and put in your questions on the chat window. So this is where we are talking about food and nutrition and food science and our nutritional requirements. So while we are talking of food, I want you all to start thinking about what is my favorite food and what makes me happy. And do I really sense when I'm feeling hungry? Do I sometimes question myself whether am I hungry or am I really thirsty? Sometimes what happens is we are thirsty and we think we are hungry and we reach out for some food and we don't realize we are putting in extra nutrition into our body when we don't need. So I want you all to start questioning yourself. Can I differentiate between hunger and thirst? That's also a part of our mindful eating. How do I recognize, am I thirsty or am I hungry? Because this is a common concern with some of my clients or patients. They are thirsty, but they feel they are hungry. So we are going to discuss these things when we're talking of mindful eating. This is my email ID and this is my WhatsApp number. In case you have any further queries, we could connect on that. And so there is this whole ruckus around calories. Everybody is stressed out thinking about calories. So calorie is just a way of looking at energy measurements, the way we have petrol and diesel and CNG. So that's just a unit to measure our energy into our body. And I will not be reading out the charts. It's just for your reference. I've put it together and all of this information is compiled from the internet sources. It's all out there on Google. You could also reference it later. And I can email it to sir if he feels the slides are appropriate. He can share it with all of you later. So the first suggestion for mindful eating is do not get obsessed by a calorie count. These days on our internet, which is on our mobile phones, we have thousands of free applications. Okay, I can tell you 10 applications right now, which will tell you how to count your calories and how to measure what you're eating, what goes into your body, etc. Let us not get obsessed by calories, or let us not get obsessed by just counting the numbers. Numbers are important, but the most important suggestion from my little experience in the field is please understand the requirements of your body. Every body is unique. Understand the needs of your body. It's okay if you're eating a few calories less or even a few calories more, but understand your body requirements. That's the first suggestion. So while we have energy requirements estimated scientifically, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. So I will read the chat box and I will answer the questions at any point in time. And if you think I've missed out on the chat window, you could unmute and speak for a conversation. So that's a little bit of an introduction about when we're talking of mindful eating, we're talking of thirst versus hunger. We're talking about our obsession with calories and using applications, apps on our phone to measure what we eat. We don't really need this. Just understand your body requirements. So just a very basic orientation into our 5 food groups. Okay, so carbs, which are your carbohydrates, we call them as carbs. Vitamins, minerals, proteins, and fats. Now, carbs and proteins are called your macro food groups. Why macro? Because we need them in larger quantities. And minerals, vitamins, and fats are your micro food groups or micronutrients because we need them in comparatively lesser quantities. So we have these 5 food groups. The only thing that we consume beyond this, which is not on our food list, is water and oxygen that comes in through breathing. So apart from oxygen and water, which are 0 calories, these are the 5 things that we consume, which is giving us our nutrition. I've tried to keep some pictures just so that, we can all relate to the French beans here and the potatoes there. So directly some suggestions around potatoes. Potatoes are not all bad. They have a lot of advantages. However, as a nutrition consultant, I advise people to minimize their potato intake because of the high starch content and very high carbs. In case you're using potatoes in your food, few very practical tips. One is whatever is your potato consumption right now, try and bring it down by 50%. Like I bring half kg of potato every Sunday. Okay, my house will stock half. We are 2 people, me and my husband, 2 of us living here. Adha kilo aloo, half kg potato I'll stock in the house. I keep it Sunday to Sunday, and next Sunday I'll give it to my bai. So she's very happy. She's waiting for Sunday because she's going to get half kg potatoes because I need to keep replenishing the stock. So I'll always have potatoes at home in case there are some guests or there is some emergency, but I'll never use potatoes in my regular cooking. So whatever is your quantity of potato intake, see if you can reduce it directly by half. Okay. The second tip for mindful eating on potatoes, I've picked up very common veggies which all of us can relate to. Har ghar mein aloo banta hai. The second suggestion for potato is do not peel it. Okay, because the underlying surface of the skin of the potato has all your trace minerals and also some bulk minerals. So do not remove the skin of the potato. Wash it very nicely and cook it with the skin of the potato. Do not peel it. That's the second suggestion. The third thing with potatoes is that do not fry it. Use it in a boiled format. Do not fry the potato because it's too much of starch, okay, which is complex carbs, and then you're going to deep fry it, which is going to increase the caloric intake many times over, almost 8 times over. So do not use it in a fried format. Use it in a boiled format if you have to use it. So these are few. Potato is not bad. It is not wrong. But minimize it. It's rich in potassium. It's rich in some trace minerals, but try and reduce the quantity of potato that you're using. French beans, I've just put an example. So typically we all understand vegetables as minerals and vitamins. That is true. However, all vegetables will also give you carbohydrates. So when I have clients who say, no, I want 0 carbs, it's not really possible. Even if you're eating a bowl of salad or vegetables, you are getting some carbohydrates. So 0 carbs is really utopia unless you're on a ketogenic diet or a keto diet or some other adventurous format like that, which definitely I'm not recommending for the Indian population. So that's a little bit about an introduction to mindful eating. So what you can see here, there is this jeera rice on my right hand side of the screen, and there's a bowl of vegetables on the left hand side of my screen. So typically, if you're hungry, I would like you to reach out to this salad, the cucumber and the tomatoes that are freshly cut, instead of the rice. Okay, now this rice has got, you can see the cumin, the jeera, which means it is sauteed in ghee. Typically, jeera rice will be sauteed in ghee, desi ghee. So that's again too much of fat getting into your body. So if you're hungry, can we please nourish our body through fiber, and some more fiber? Okay, so fiber is roughage. So while fiber is not a food group, fiber is something that we badly need for the digestion in our body. So we don't have to reach out to
Bluetooth mode.
Sorry, if we don't need fiber, okay, people please mute, and if there's any question, put it on the chat. So please reach out for fiber. Our body needs fiber for digestion. We don't have to buy OTC products like Isabgol or even wheatgrass for that matter. We don't have to consume wheatgrass, which is a good source of fiber. But if we can reach out to vegetables and we can reach out to fruits for the roughage of fiber, roughage and fiber is the same thing. You can call it roughage or you can call it fiber. So if we reach out to these things, it will make sure we stay away from ABCs. Okay, what is ABC? A is acidity, B is bloating of the body, and C is constipation. So we will stay away from the ABC if we have enough fiber in our body. So this is just a picture. What is mindful eating? Mindful eating is about making the right choices. So yesterday evening, we had a very eventful evening coming up. So we wanted to make sure we are nutritionally sound, wanted something heavy. So instead of having one cucumber, which would not give me enough energy, I had not one, but I had 2 pairs. So in a normal day, 2 pairs together is not recommended. But because I knew I had a very eventful evening coming up, and I'm likely to get into stress eating, I said, okay, instead of eating something which is unhealthy, let me have ek ke jagah 2 fruits instead. So that also gave me good amount of fiber. So this is a small suggestion on mindful eating. Reach out for fiber, which you're going to get through your vegetables, which you're going to get through your fruits, instead of reaching out for carbohydrates all the time. So carbohydrates is not bad, carbohydrates is not wrong, but we don't need it in too much of quantity. We are eating too much of carbs. So we don't need so much of carbs. So we can substitute it with the right choices that we make. A lot of people have this habit of putting extra salt, you want to make it tasty. Now, again, your palate or your taste can be acquired. One day, 2 day, 3 day, we may find it bland, but afterwards, when we start relishing the original taste of the cucumbers and the tomatoes and the carrots and the olives and the jalapenos and whatever you want to eat as your salads, you start enjoying and appreciating that taste. So, aise nahi hai ki only if you have high blood pressure, you should avoid extra sodium. No. We need to avoid extra intake of all this chaat masala and garam masala and salt and rock salt and black salt and pink salt and everything as far as possible. Unless you're feeling dehydrated and you feel you need extra electrolytes in your body, you have had a long day, you have been out in the sun for 2-3 hours, then that's an exceptional story. So far, so good. I'm just quickly checking on the chat window in case I've missed anything, but I think it's so far, so good. So this is about choosing fiber over carbs. What are carbs? Carbs are the primary sources of energy, and we get it through all your grains. So in this photograph, you can see a roti or a typical Indian bread, yeah, Indian chapati. So fulka. So it is wheat, it is rice, it is even your millets like jowar, bajra, nachni or ragi, all these millets and grains, corn, makai ki roti. So all your rice, of course, all your grains and millets are your primary sources of carbohydrates. So when we are younger, we need more carbs. So 2 chapati, 4 chapati, 6 chapati, itna sara rice. We need too much of carbs because we need so much of energy. But now we're moving to slightly sedentary lifestyle and we don't need so much of extra energy. So I'm recommending we reduce our carbs. Can you just reduce your carbs by 50%? If I'm having 2 chapatis, can I have 1 instead of 2? Just let me observe my body for a day. Do I really feel hungry or am I feeling okay? I don't have to keep eating because I'm so used to eating. So carbohydrates, there's a chat window comment from Shanta, Miss Shanta. Pink salt is better than your regular table salt. Yes, Himalayan pink salt or any of these rock salt, Kala Namak, that we use for fasting. Today is Ekadashi. I don't know if many of you might be fasting today. I am fasting today for Ekadashi. So all of these rock salt, pink salt, and black salt, all these variations or varieties are more closer to nature and less processed, and therefore they are recommended. That's right, Shanta ma'am, that's right. So try to reduce your carbs by 50%. Just observe your body. If you think it's stressing you out, then you can increase your carbs. Now your carbs now should not have this extra ghee, extra oil, extra butter on it. Have it without the visible fats. I've not kept a separate slide about fats, so I'm just going to talk about fats. We do not need the visible fats in our body. We are already consuming invisible fats. Okay, so visible fats is all your butter, margarine, ghee, dalda, oil that you can see is your visible fats. We are already consuming invisible fats. If you're using groundnut in your cooking, groundnut has got fats. If you're using any nuts, cashew nuts, walnuts, anything, all your nuts have got fats. If you're using coconut in your cooking, it has got fats. Coconut se oil banta hai, right? So we are using invisible fats anyways in our cooking. We don't need too much of extra visible fats. A very famous question, a very popular question my patients ask me is ghee better than oil? Should I have ghee instead of oil? Okay, so it's okay to have any visible fat in moderate quantity. Moderate quantity is 1 teaspoon a day. Or if you're really skinny and if you're worried about being too thin or lean, then maybe 2 teaspoons of fats, which could be oil or ghee in a day, but not more than 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons, teaspoon, which is a smaller helping, smaller serving size. So 1 or 2 teaspoons of any oil or fat in a day, visible fats is okay. So then I'm now moving to vegetables and fruits. Now, there are so many bulk minerals and trace minerals that we don't have to sit here. Our objective is not to by heart which vegetable has got which mineral. Our objective is to understand that if you're eating a balanced diet, that's our topic, right? Balanced food. So if we're eating a balanced diet with all different kinds of vegetables, it's going to make sure that our nutritional requirements are going to be taken care of. So we are looking at antioxidants, we're looking at probiotics, we're looking at prebiotics, we're looking at so many different scientific words which ultimately say, have all your vegetables, avoid the starchy vegetables like the potato, which I've already spoken about for quite some time. Have all your vegetables. Some ground rules for vegetables is always chop them coarsely. Keep the chunks or pieces of your vegetables as large as possible. Do not mince them or do not grind them, because if you're mincing them too fine, the finer you chop, the more nutritional loss. So keep them as coarse or keep the cubes, your vegetable cubes, as large chunks as is acceptable to you. The other ground rule for mindful eating is where we are talking about ensuring you eat freshly cooked foods. Today we're talking of, just ordering from Big Basket or from any other service provider, stocking up vegetables in a deep freezer for 1 week. No, just cook fresh and eat fresh. Have minimal visible fats, have minimal of those masalas, and make sure you have a good serving for your vegetables. And those vegetables which can be consumed with the skin, you should not peel them off. Like carrots, you don't have to peel off carrots. You don't have to peel off all vegetables which can be consumed with their skin. And otherwise, yes, of course, have local foods. You don't have to go to broccoli and mushroom and baby corn and bell peppers all the time. Even our simple local foods like Lauki. Lauki is bitter gourd or dudhi. I've put a picture of that in my next slide. So red pumpkin. So you have so many good vegetables which are local, which are more comfortable in terms of our Indian population, for our Indian population. So you could use a lot of vegetables and make sure you're not making them too spicy. Like your vegetables, the next source of your minerals and vitamins is your fruits. I have a lot of questions coming up on fruits typically. So proactively, I'll start answering them. Ma'am, is fruit juice better than fruit? No, I don't want any of you to consume fruit juices. Okay, if one thing you want to learn from today's session is no fruit juices. Unless you have a health condition for which you're not able to chew and your doctor has recommended a fruit juice, then that's your doctor's discretion. But otherwise, nobody is going to consume a fruit juice. We are going to have a fruit, because when you eat an orange, you eat one orange. You're not eating 4 or 3 oranges at once. But when you're making a fruit juice, your 1 glass fruit juice will have 3 to 4 oranges. If they're medium size, and 4 if they're large, and 3. So we don't consume 4 oranges together, right? We eat 1 orange or mosambi or whatever fruit you're having. Every fruit juice and this consumed outside, they would typically put sugar, which you don't have to consume. They would put ice, hygiene issues, we don't know. And we are consuming too many calories. Your fruits are also carbs. Your fruits is fructose. Fructose is a carbohydrate. So we don't want so much of energy in our body. 1 fruit is enough because we need the fiber from the fruit. The second most common question asked by patients is, ma'am, what is the best time to eat a fruit? So it is not, okay, I think Veena Iyer ma'am has said that. I'm just reading it out on chat. Is it advised to have fruits with meal or before and after meals with gap of time? Bit confused. So Veena ma'am, there is no rule for fruits. However, my recommendation is it's best to start your day with a fruit, empty stomach, early morning, whatever time you wake up, instead of starting your day with a toxin like caffeine, like chai coffee, instead of starting your day with caffeine, start your day with a fruit. It could be any fruit, unless you're having high sugar. Like if you're a diabetic, you cannot consume certain fruits like bananas, and you cannot consume jackfruit, you cannot consume chiku, you cannot consume sitafal, you cannot consume mango, you cannot consume grapes. If you're not a diabetic person, if your sugar levels are normal, you can have any fruit. So Veena ma'am, start your day with a fruit. Okay, that is high fructose, high energy, and it's a good way to start your day with good fiber, good minerals, etc. Okay, should you have your fruits with meal or before and after? So for your meal, you have to know how much you're eating. If you're planning to eat a fruit along with a meal or just after your meal, then the quantity of food has to go down. Instead of eating 2 chapatis, I have to eat 1 chapati because I'm going to eat an apple also. Or instead of 1 chapati, I'll eat half a chapati because I'm going to eat a pear or whatever fruit I'm taking. So remember that your fruit, if it is a part of your meal, along with your meal, just before or after, you have to reduce your other carbs so that you're not eating too much at a time. It is okay to eat your fruit with the meal, just before the meal, just after the meal, there is no problem. But then you have to adjust the quantity of your meal. You have to make it lesser so that in totality, you have not eaten more than what you require at one given point in time. But my recommendation is the best way to consume a fruit is early morning. Start your day on an empty stomach. The best time is to have your fruit. And your fruits, again, same rule like vegetables. What fruits can be had with the skin? Do not peel it. Like one of my patients, she removes the apple skin. She says, no, but there's so much of color they're putting, there's so much of chemicals they're putting, I feel scared to eat the skin. No, you wash it properly, because the underlying surface of the skin of the apple has got the nutrition. If you're going to throw away that, you're only getting fiber, you're not getting the minerals. So do not throw away the skin of those fruits which can be consumed with the skin. You're never going to have fruit juices, you're going to eat a fruit. Never drink a fruit, always eat a fruit. And again, we're talking of minerals and vitamins. I cannot not talk about calcium, the most glamorous and popularized one. Please ensure we have enough lactose in our body, which is milk. If you're allergic to milk or lactose intolerant, you can look at soy substitutes, soya milk, almond milk, etc. But if you're not allergic to lactose or milk, please have milk. Better than milk is curd or buttermilk. Okay, so I'm happy if you say I don't like milk. It's okay if you don't like milk. Convert it into curd format or into buttermilk format and consume that. Because milk has got XYZ nutrition, your curd and buttermilk has got XYZ plus ABC, additional, extra nutrition. So curd and buttermilk is better over milk. You must have your milk and or curd or buttermilk every day. Rich source of protein, rich source of calcium, rich source of nutrition. Nitya Dikshit ma'am has written, I will read out the chat question. Can chapati and rice be combined for lunch, or is it only rice and only chapati to be consumed? Nitya ma'am, it's a myth. ऐसे कोई rule नहीं है. You can comfortably mix the two. There is no problem. Just make sure that you're not diabetic, because the composition of rice, you may want to reduce it or change it to brown rice or red rice or parboiled rice. If you're a diabetic, if you're not a diabetic, then there is no problem. You can have lunch and rice together. I am concerned about the in total quantity of carbs that you're consuming. So have less. If you want to have both, you can have less quantity, half chapati and little rice, or 1 chapati and very little rice. It's okay to combine. There's no problem in that. And you can comfortably have both the things. But have more vegetables and more proteins than carbohydrates. So proteins is all your dals or lentils and pulses or sprouts and soya nuggets or soya chunks or soya granules, and some vegetables like mushrooms. Those of you who are non-vegetarian, eggs, chicken, fish, mutton, all of these are protein sources. So in your thali or lunch plate, have more proteins and more fiber, which is vegetables, than chapati and rice. So just change the proportion or the quantity of proteins, carbs, and minerals and vitamins. Vijay Lakshmi ma'am has said, I don't like both milks and curds. In that case, what to do? Okay, so now what is happening is, Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, why are we wanting you to have milk or curds? We are wanting milk and curds for two things. One is for proteins and one is for calcium. So if you're already taking calcium supplements, then I'm not worried about you. You can skip your milk and curd and you can have your calcium supplement.
Balance poor and
the-
mindful eating.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Can you come again?
No, please go ahead, Gauri. That was a noise.
Yes, sir. Sorry. So if you're taking calcium supplements, it's okay. You can miss your milk. And for proteins, since you don't like milk and curds, then the other alternative available to you is a protein shake, which you can have in water as well. You don't have to have it in. The reason I was not talking about protein shakes or about calcium supplements, etc., is some people are not comfortable. They feel, oh, we don't want to take protein shakes. It's too artificial, or we want natural sources of protein, or we don't want to take supplements. So it's a attitude. Some people are not open to supplements. So if you don't have that mental block, if you're open to taking supplements, then you can consume your, like I am only in my 40s, but I'm taking, like right now before the session, I took my calcium supplement. I have taken my multivitamins in the morning. In the night before sleeping, I'm going to take my iron supplement because I know I'm not consuming enough nutrition through food. So I have to make sure my nutritional requirements are taken care of. So I'm taking multivitamins, I'm taking calcium, I'm taking iron every day. Once a week, I'm taking vitamin D, cholecalciferol sachet. So I'm consuming that. So if you're okay with that, if you're not having milk and curd, you can have a protein shake. You can consume it in water since you don't like milk. And when you're kneading the atta for rotis, you can add that protein powder into it. And you can have calcium supplements if you're not willing to take milk and curds. If you're willing to adapt your taste, you can try taking buttermilk. You can make it flavored. One day you can put jeera. One day you can put black pepper. One day you can put little ginger. You can make it like a flavored drink for yourself. Okay, I hope that helps. When I take curds, I vomit. Then, of course, you don't have to take curds at all. As I said, ma'am, the first thing you have to understand is what are your body requirements. Like, for example, I'll share with you sprouts. Sprouts is a very good source of proteins, but personally, it doesn't suit me. When I have sprouts, I feel gaseous, I feel gas, I feel bloated. So I never consume sprouts, not even boiled or steamed, let alone raw sprouts. So I know my body, I cannot have sprouts, it doesn't suit me. So if you're sure with your experience that curds don't suit you, then that is definitely out of your shopping list. You're not buying curds. There is another, okay, most welcome, ma'am, take care. Okay, so then this is a little bit about calcium, milk, etc. Now I'll talk about proteins. The most important food group that we must focus on is proteins. Why? Because proteins, if carbohydrates is responsible for giving us energy, proteins are responsible for repairing the wear and tear of our cells. See, every fraction of a second, millions of cells are dying and new cells are being born. So ये जो wear and tear है, the cells are dying and new cells are born. For this maintenance, repair maintenance, we need 21 amino acids. Amino acids are the basic blocks of proteins. So right now in our diet, unless you have a specific health condition where your doctor has asked you to reduce your protein intake, these are all general guidelines, assuming they're all in good average health. If you have a specific health condition, please let your doctor or physicians advise override my decision. Go with your family doctor's prescription. But these are general guidelines. So we must have more proteins than carbs. Okay, so like this bowl, this is an excellent protein bowl. You can have this for breakfast. You can start your day with a fruit, and after 1 hour, 2 hours, you can have a protein bowl. If your cholesterol levels are normal, you can have the egg yolk. If you're high on cholesterol, you can remove the yolk and just have the egg white. Now, what you can see in this photograph or this picture on the slide is chana or chole, which was soaked overnight, and in the morning, it is steamed in a pressure cooker. I've put some small cherry tomatoes and some lettuce leaves for fiber. So it's giving me good fiber. It's giving me very good proteins. And it's starting the day on a very good high protein note. So Meenal ma'am has asked what foods are to be avoided if your triglycerides are high. So your triglycerides are coming from all your refined foods, ma'am. Okay, so the basic rule in food and nutrition is avoid anything that is super refined. In one word, it means avoid all your junk food. Okay, so your all your pastas and pizzas and burgers and fries and sandwiches and even dosas, even pav bhaji. So when I say this, my clients say, but dosa is good, pav bhaji is good, it's Indian food, why are you avoiding it? If you cook it at home, it's not junk food. If you're eating it outside, then it is junk food because the oil they're using, the butter they're using. So, ma'am, avoid everything that is refined, avoid everything that is super processed to make sure that you're trying to balance off your triglycerides. Anything refined, anything processed should be avoided. For proteins, all of you, please make sure you have at least one bowl of protein in your meal for your lunch and dinner. It could be a vegetarian source or it could be a non-vegetarian source, depending on your lifestyle and depending on your values. But one bowl of protein is a must in your every meal, lunch and dinner. Even in your breakfast, try to use proteins. Like I'm a Maharashtrian, so we make a lot of poha, upma, sabudana khichdi, all these Indian Maharashtrian foods. So in your poha, instead of putting potato, I started putting soya nuggets. Okay, because soya is a good source of protein. And in my upma, I'm putting green peas, matar, green peas I'm putting. I'm not putting potatoes. So see if you can substitute some proteins. You can put carrots. Carrots is not for protein. A carrot is for the fiber. But in your morning breakfast items, just put in a lot of vegetables that you can. So one simple rule for proteins that we can remember is, remember you will need like approximately 1 gram of protein per kg. So if your weight is 60 kilos, then you need 60 grams of proteins in a day, roughly. That's the thumb rule. 1 gram per kilo. So if your weight is 70 kgs, you need 70 grams of proteins in a day. That's an easy way to remember our protein requirements. One important thing to know about proteins is the Indian food groups typically will give you combination foods. That means you will not have one isolated source of protein unless you're talking of a non-vegetarian source. Like if you're talking of fish or chicken or egg, it's full protein. But if you're talking of vegetarian sources like all your dals and pulses and other sources of vegetarian proteins, milk, all your vegetarian protein sources are combination foods. So it will have proteins, it will also have carbohydrates as a part of the same food group. So they are combination foods. Now, the problem in cooking is whether you can see this lovely dal that is on this photograph, or you can think of non-vegetarian sources of proteins. The problem is when you use excessive fat with it. So again, this is a mindset that I want to address, that people think we need a lot of extra visible fats to make our food tasty. You need a lot of oil to make it tasty. It's not true. In my house, like there's hardly any oil we are using. You're not using visible fats at all. I mean, we're using it very marginally, not very well. So you don't need too much of extra fats or visible fats to make your proteins or carbs, make your food tasty. The food taste comes from the masala that you put into it, not from the oil. Okay, so if you've marinated your food well, if you've put your simple things like turmeric powder, chili powder, maybe salt can be used beautifully, and maybe use some lemon or curd for marinating your food. You keep it for some time. If you cook it patiently on low flame, even without oil or with very less oil, we can cook. Do not consume extra visible fats. They're just going to add pressure onto your cardiac system. Okay, so our heart is going to take extra effort to pump out the oxygen and the blood and everything else. So do not consume extra visible fats. Our body does not need so much of fats unless advised differently by your family doctor or physician. Yes, Veena ma'am, cheese is okay. Cheese is a good source of protein, but cheese also has fats. So depending on your body weight, okay, BMI, we all know how to calculate BMI. BMI calculators are there on the internet. Depending on your body weight composition, depending on your fat percentage, if you're not fat or obese like I used to be once upon a time, then you can use cheese liberally. But if you're on the heavier side, if you feel you're fat and you want to control what you're eating, then cheese twice a week or max 3 times a week is okay. Regardless of your health conditions, cheese every day is not okay because cheese has very high fat content also. I'm assuming we're talking about Amul cheese, Britannia cheese, the branded cheese. We are not talking of cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is paneer, which is good, especially if it's homemade. So cottage cheese or paneer should be homemade from cow's milk. You should not use cottage cheese ready-made because it's made from buffalo's milk, which is very, very, very high in fat content. So use, yes, so cheese is okay. Twice a week or thrice a week. Cheese is good because it's a very rich source of protein. Nitya ma'am has asked, I use rice bran oil. Is it okay? So Nitya ma'am, thank you for this question. I wanted to share this tip. All oils are bad. Let me put it that way. All oils are bad. No oil is good. I can't say this oil is better over that oil. But the trick here is keep changing your oil every 3 months. So I'm not talking about the brand name. I'm talking about 3 months sunflower oil, then 3 months rice bran oil, then 3 months canola oil, then 3 months groundnut oil, then 3 months olive oil, then 3 months, whatever. Keep changing the oil that you're using so that the advantage of one and disadvantage of the other gets neutralized. So do not use any one type of oil constantly for the whole year. Keep changing your oil every 3 months. That's a tip or a technique I would like to share for mindful eating. Yes, I do that often. Perfect. Then that's good. If you're already doing that, then it's perfect. Please continue doing that. Okay, a lot of these fads are coming up. Okay, so some people are talking about intermittent fasting, some people are talking about keto diets, and some people are talking about Mediterranean diet and DASH diet. So do not get carried away by these fads. Some of them are tried and tested good methods, but please go with your body requirements. If intermittent fasting or an offshoot of intermittent fasting is Dikshit diet, it's very popular. A lot of my patients are using it. 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours window mein khana hai, etc. If it's suiting your body, it's fine, good for you. Please continue doing it. If it's not suiting you, do not force yourself to do it. So don't get carried away by any of these experimentations. Stick to the standard format. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 3 meals a day. Start your day with something that detoxifies your body. Do not start your day with tea, coffee. Start your day with nimbu pani or with a shot of aloe vera juice or a shot of amla juice. Shot, okay? So 30 ml. Don't dilute it in water. Just take a shot of amla juice or aloe vera juice or a simple nimbu pani, garam pani mein nimbu dal ke. If you're skinny or lean, you can add 1 teaspoon of honey into it. If you're on the heavier side, do not add honey into your nimbu pani. So start your day with a detox drink like that. Have a fruit to start your day. After some time, have a nice protein breakfast. Mid-morning ke liye, you could have maybe a few nuts, 8 to 10 almonds or 3 to 4 walnuts, if possible. Have a few nuts for your mid-morning. Stick to your 1 bowl of protein, 1 bowl of vegetable and roti chawal, whatever you want for your lunch. Do not skip meals. So just keep it very standard. The standard ground rules that have worked for so many years will continue working if we don't get paranoid about the whole food thing. We know this, so I don't have to, you all are more experienced than me, you all have seen life better than me. I don't have to read it out to you, but it's on my slide for your reference. Do not multitask, okay? Like I keep saying this to my mother, I don't know if she has joined, I don't know if she's listening to this, like telling her, do not look into your phone when you're eating, do not watch TV when you're eating, because then you don't know how much and what you're eating, you're not really appreciating your food. So just focus on food, not just as a source of energy, but as a sense of gratitude for the life force that it brings into us. Please eat every meal for at least 20 minutes. I put a timer. I've been doing this for more than 2 years now. For last almost 2.5 years, I put a timer on my meal. You're supposed to eat for 20 minutes. You're not supposed to eat in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes. You're supposed to eat for 20 minutes. That's a scientific rule. So put a timer for 20 minutes. And so that's how you will chew well. That's how you take time to eat. So make sure that you're eating for 20 minutes. The other things are simple, but I thought this 20 minutes rule, some of you may not be aware perhaps, so I wanted to spell it out. Nitya ma'am has written on chat window, I drink warm water with haldi and ajmal into it. Perfect, ma'am. That's very good. And with all these gifts from South Africa that are coming into our country now, we are all going to go back to turmeric as a source of immunity. So if you're already depending on turmeric powder, it is good in the on empty stomach in the morning. That's perfect. It's any of these detox drinks, which is going to remove toxins for your body, is a wonderful day to start our day. So this is a little bit of tips around nutrition, and I'll just go quickly to the last few slides. There's nothing around this that I've not mentioned. It's just a reference material. Chas or tak in Marathi, we call it tak. Chas or tak is like amrut. Amrut is what keeps you immortal. So chas or tak is amrut for us. We should have it every day. Do not have it cold. You can have it normal temperature, but you must, if you're not allergic to curd, like ma'am was just sharing, she vomits if she has curd, then you can't have it. But if you're not allergic to curd, then buttermilk should be had every day. It's an excellent probiotic. And God forbid, unless you're a cancer patient, for which it's a strict no-no, unless your health conditions are very specific. In general circumstances, you must be having your curds or buttermilk. Okay, again, this slide is for reference. Nothing new on this, but quickly go through it. Buy pav bhaji. I have a problem with pav bhaji. I don't allow my patients to have pav bhaji because you're cutting it so fine and then you're pressure cooking it and then you're adding so much of butter into it. So it's all vegetables, but it's still junk, even if it's cooked at home. So say no to pav bhaji, eat healthy, eat raw whenever possible. Okay, so your raw salads are better than your cooked vegetables. So vegetables in all formats are awesome for the body. So vegetable salads, your cooked vegetables, your boiled vegetables, you can make excellent soups. I'm doing a lot of experimentation with soups. So half red pumpkin, half carrot, put half tomato, pressure cook it. You can just keep experimenting. You can put a lot, even this Loki, this bottle gourd that you can see in this photograph on the slide, it makes excellent soup. So you can use any vegetables, put pressure cook it if you can't eat some of it raw, and it becomes a very healthy soup. I'll go back to the chat window. Veena Iyer ma'am has asked, if you reduce sodium, will it result in less sodium and giddiness or such condition? No, it's not like that. You're not going to stop your sodium. Like if I've done Navratri fasting for 9 days, I'm doing Navratri 9 days fasting without salt. So even in those 9 days fasting, I'm never getting any giddiness or any kind of dizziness, or my blood pressure is not dropping. It's not just sodium, it's potassium, it's magnesium, it's a lot of electrolytes that balance out in your body. And body has this very natural way of coping because of our survival instinct. So to most of my clients, they have never come back with this problem. Unless, as I said, everybody is unique and different. If you think deprived and if you feel your body needs that sodium, you can go ahead and adjust your sodium levels. Sometimes if somebody's blood pressure drops or somebody's very low on glucose, we not just give sugar, but we give nimbu pani with salt to put sodium into your body. But it's not going to generally happen. Rest assured, don't get worried about it. I think this is my last slide, and I'm going to talk about some more tips for mindful eating. Apart from that, 20 minutes, eat for 20 minutes. Do not multitask when you're eating, etc. And and remember to differentiate between hunger and thirst, because sometimes we are thirsty, but we think we are hungry. One tip for mindful eating, one important tip which I want to clarify over here before I go to Swapna ma'am's question, is that people understand the difference between psychological hunger and physiological hunger. Many of us are eating for psychological reasons. We're not eating for physiological reasons. Like, for example, a common psychological reason for eating is boredom. We are bored, we don't know what to do. So, okay, let me go and open some chivda or some farsan or some fafda or some biscuit or some junk like that. Or you may eat healthy also, but you're eating just because you're bored, you don't know what to do. I can see some people are smiling and laughing, which means they agree with me. Thank you for that non-verbal reinforcement. But boredom is a main reason why we're eating. What do we do? So let's eat and let's sit and cook, and let's cook and let's eat and let's feed other people. So please understand that you're not Your body is a temple. We don't want to abuse our body. So do not eat for psychological reasons. Like boredom, the other psychological reason why people eat is stress. Okay, when we are stressed out, some of us have more anxiety attacks than others. Some of us tend to press the panic button too quickly. We get scared, we get nervous, we get little worried. Okay, what's going to happen? I forgot my keys here. Where is my mobile phone? Oh, have I closed the door properly? Oh, this person has already reached, I have not reached. I'm running late. Or anything. I forgot to take my medicine today. It could be anything. We sometimes get hassled too easily, and then we get stressed. So cortisol is a stress hormone in your body. Cortisol is getting released, and that hormone is playing the prank. It's telling us, go eat something, go eat something. So we have to overcome this temptation. Do not eat for emotional reasons. Do not eat because you're stressed out. Do not eat because you're bored. Do not eat because you're angry. Do not eat because you're sad. Do not eat because you're happy. And as Indians, all of us have associated food to emotions. Food is a social experience for us. It's not just a nutritional experience. So everything we associate with food. We are happy, let's celebrate. We are sad, we still want to eat. So try to cut off that connection. We can minimize it. We can't cut it out because there is a lot of hormones, hunger hormones like ghrelin, hunger hormones that get impacted by our emotional state of being. So we can't really completely cut it out. We don't want to do that also. That is what keeps us human. Otherwise, we become like robots. So we don't want to do that, but minimize it. Please differentiate between physiological hunger and psychological hunger. So if I'm feeling nervous right now because I have an important client meeting coming up at 7 o'clock and I'm not feeling confident about it, I'm not going to go into my kitchen and make a Maggie or some biscuit or something junk. Then I will tell myself, okay, I'm feeling like eating. Let me eat a fruit. At least I'm eating fiber. At least I'm not eating the refined maida and the refined flours if I have to eat something. Or can I drink water instead of eating? Maybe it will subside my craving. Your cravings are psychological hunger. It's not physiological hunger. If you're hungry, then you can eat anything because you're hungry. But if you have a craving for one specific thing, meetha, some people say, I want to eat sweet, I want to eat sweet. So that craving is coming because of a psychological hunger, because that glucose is going to give you a feel good. It's going to give you a comfort zone. So try to minimize your emotional eating. And I'm going to the chat window because this is my last slide, and other things are easy to understand. But psychological hunger is what I wanted to explain. There is a question from Veena Iyer, ma'am. Is it advised to have fruits with, okay, sorry, that we have taken. There is a question by Swapna Umarji, ma'am. Which milk is good for daily use? Ma'am, cow's milk is okay for daily use. Buffalo's milk is not good for daily use. Do not have buffalo's milk. You can have cow's milk. And if you're super conscious of your health, you can have double toned milk or skimmed milk, which has lesser fat than cow's milk. Okay, so cow's milk is okay, but double toned milk or skimmed milk is better if you're super conscious. But for normal lifestyle, cow's milk is good for daily use. Buffalo's milk is not good. Nobody should buy buffalo's milk. It has very high fat content. There is a question from Samatha madam. Instead of changing oil for every 3 months, I guess it's good to keep 3-4 types of oils at home and use whatever brings good taste. Yes, that's a good tip, Samatha ma'am. That's a good suggestion. I also do that. I have olive oil at home, and olive oil I keep constant, and I keep changing one oil. So now I'm on rice bran oil. Then after 3 months, I'll have so that's sunflower oil and rice bran mixed, etc. So you can change one oil and you can keep one oil constant, like olive oil I'm keeping constant. Yes, you can do that. That's good because it will keep changing the flavor. While we're talking about oils, Samatha ma'am, coconut oil is also good. Some people, if you're okay with the flavor, because it has a strong taste and a strong flavor, coconut oil is also good. Even in your black coffee, if you can take 1 teaspoon of cold pressed coconut virgin oil, it's extremely good for your metabolism. So coconut oil can also be recommended. Even MCT oil can be recommended. There's a question from Ratna. Ratna ma'am has asked, microwave heating is okay? No, it is not okay, but I'm embarrassed to say no because I'm also doing it. So I'm sorry, I'm not walking the talk. I use microwave at home, so it is not right for me to say no, but the scientific, academic correct answer to that is no. Microwave heating is not good, but I guess we all have to practically manage our lives. And since I'm also using it, it's not right for me to talk about it. So excuse me for that. There is one question from Ramani Iyer ma'am. Eat only when hungry versus timely eating even if not hungry. Which one is better? So I like these questions. They're all on mindful eating. They're two schools of thoughts. I recommend eat at a particular time, even if you're not hungry. And I'll give you the reason behind it. Sometimes we are not aware that we are hungry because you're so busy with work. Your mind is occupied with some event, some activity. So you may not be fully aware that you're hungry. So you may think you're not hungry. When some of my patients say, मैंने पूरा दिन कुछ नहीं खाया, मुझे time ही नहीं मिला, and I didn't even feel hungry. So it's not that you were not hungry. It's just that you were not aware that you are hungry because your mind was busy elsewhere. Your mind was not thinking about food. So I recommend you should eat at timely hours. So this is one reason. You may not be aware, but you may actually be hungry. And the other reason is your body has a biological clock. Your body is always more comfortable with routine instead of non-routine experiences every day. So have a routine, breakfast at 8 o'clock, mid-morning snack at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock lunch, 4 o'clock tea time, evening 6:37 or evening snack, 8:30 dinner, whatever is your routine, whatever suits you. Because our body has a biological clock in it. So it's better to eat at routine times. If you're feeling less hungry, you can eat less. But please eat, don't starve, because at your next meal, you will eat more than double because your body will now say, okay, I need nutrition. So there is this argument in the food science space that you understand your body only if it's hungry, you eat. No, sometimes you're hungry, you don't know you're hungry. So you please eat when it's time to eat. Come khao if you're not hungry, but respect your biological clock in your body. Yes, sesame oil, Veena Iyer ma'am, sesame oil is also very good. All oils have their own advantages and disadvantages. So no oil is good and no oil is bad, but oil as a category has to be minimized. Do not consume more than 2 teaspoons of visible fats, whether it is oil or ghee or butter or malai or margarine or dalda or any visible fats. Do not consume more than 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of visible fats in a day. And that includes the oil you have used for the tadka, okay? It's not that visible oil, matlab extra liya hai. So when you're making a vegetable or making a dal, you're already putting oil. So that 2 teaspoons in a day includes that tadka oil also that you have used. Premlata ma'am has asked how to use olive oil. Can it be used for regular cooking? Yes, it can be used for regular cooking, but olive oil's properties are best when it is not hot or it is not warm. So if you want to use it as a salad dressing, it's better, but you can still use it for regular cooking also. But preferably the taste of olive oil is at its best for continental cooking and not the Indian cooking. So if you're going to put haldi, jeera, garlic, ginger, onions, then the olive taste the flavor may not be at its best. So it's better for continental cooking. It can be used for regular cooking. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So many thank yous. I'm so blessed. Thank you. I don't follow any time, but I'm healthy and active. Perfect. What works best for you? So if it's working well for you, Nitya ma'am, just continue doing what you're doing as long as your body is responding in a positive way. As long as there are no symptoms of ill health. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. So I think I have 3 minutes remaining. It's 5:57. We have 3 minutes. And if there are any more questions, I'll be happy to take. Otherwise, I'll quickly recap. Reduce your carbohydrates. All your grains and millets are carbohydrates. It's source of energy. We don't need so much energy. So try to reduce your carbohydrates by 50%. Just observe your body. See what happens. Increase your proteins. So make sure in every meal you have a serving of protein, vegetarian or non-vegetarian source. Make sure you have lots of fruits and vegetables for the fiber and roughage to avoid ABC. A is acidity, B is bloating, C is constipation. To avoid ABC, make sure you have a lot of fiber in your body. And raw vegetables are better than cooked vegetables. For cooking vegetables and proteins, make sure you're using minimal visible fats because you're already consuming invisible fats through other food groups. And listen to your body. for whatever are your body requirements. Do not get carried away by adventurous dietary fads. Just go what works best for you. You know your body better than anybody else knowing your body. Eat for 20 minutes. Every meal should last for 20 minutes. Differentiate between hunger and thirst. Probably you're thirsty or not hungry. Please eat a fruit. Don't drink a fruit. No fruit juices. And I think I can go on, but I have last 2 minutes and I should just stop and see if anything else has to be covered. People, these chat messages are so motivating, and I feel so blessed. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sengupta sir, for inviting me in this forum. And I feel so inspired by your positive comments and appreciation. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank
Ma'am,
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That was
Thank
very
you,
nice
Gauri.
session.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
madam. Thank you so much.
Thank
Madam,
you,
how
madam.
about air fryer? If we cook in air fryer?
Yes, air fryer is fine. You can use air fryer. It's perfectly fine and healthy. You can use air
Thank you
fryer.
so much.
Excellent
you.
session,
Thank you, madam.
Dr. Saab.
Thank you so much.
Excellent talk, madam.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
so much.
Sengupta sir, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Gauri. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Sir, may I leave?
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other question or? Thank you, Gauri. Thanks a lot. It was an excellent session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very
Sir,
nicely
may I leave?
explained.
Thank you very
Thank
much, dear. Very nice session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Fantastic
Thank you
session
very
by
much.
you, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, should I leave?
Yes.
Yeah, you can leave.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for
Bye,
your
bye.
blessings.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for your blessings.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, madam.
Bye.
Beautiful. Nice.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
We can also leave, no?
Yeah.
Yes. Chalo. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Recording to be stopped.
Bye. See you.